As the Germans would say, let me put my cards on the table. Remember this before we start the presentation. The death of one man is a tragedy. The death of millions is a statistic. That's Joseph Stalin. Number 2, the DOJ removes international sex trafficking of minors from areas of concern page. Comes as human trafficking pipeline at the southern border explodes under the Joe Biden open border policy and amid box office success of anti-child trafficking movie Sound of Freedom, which beat the hell out of Indiana Jones in limited release. My question, why would the DOJ remove key sections from its child sex trafficking webpage, including the atrocity of international sex trafficking of minors? What the hell is going on? Number 3, California Democrats vote to protect child sex traffickers from jail time and felony charges. Check that out. Number 4, open borders is the engine of child sex slavery. And number 5, if you look at the history, and I'm just talking history, the Democrats were the party of slavery in the 19th century, and now they are the party of slavery in the 21st century. Child slavery, child sex trafficking. Sound of Freedom is not a political movie. It's not about left or right. Everyone should support this movie. The fact that they're making this about politics is absurd. This should be a universal issue we can all agree on. It's unbelievable. You know, Sound of Freedom is a watershed movie in my opinion. Operation Underground Railroad founder Tim Ballard is a hero in my opinion. Tim spent 12 years as a special agent, undercover operator for the Department of Homeland Security. This guy is the real deal. And then he went out on his own. So, you know, working child sex crimes, child trafficking, and it was kind of an evolution, his, story. And the first few years, it was mostly just end user collector cases of people who are processing and distributing child exploitation material. And he says it was always, he was always, wondering where are the kids and all this? What's going on? It's just not, what's happening? Are they being raped, murdered? What's happening to the end of these kids? And, he said he sees the videos and it breaks his heart and he just wanted to get more involved. And if you remember, there's a scene in the movie that breaks my heart when Jim Caviezel is crying as he is having to describe these horrific sex scenes of children. And when I say children, I mean average age 7, 6, 5-year-olds. The real Tim Ballard says that his team rescued 123,000 traffic victims in Operation Triple Take in Colombia alone. 55 of them were minors. And this guy's testified at Congress. Remember, God's children aren't for sale. We are all children of God. This is a 21st century version of Harriet Beckman Stoll's Uncle Tom's Cabin, in my opinion. So if you oppose sexual exploitation of children, you're a right-wing nut, a conspiracy theorist. Give me a fucking break. Whenever your political affiliation is, you should be against the sexualization of poor, innocent children. The Sound of Freedom was completed 5 years ago, before QAnon, but Disney fought them in the courts to keep it from being released. What does that tell you? Hollywood employees, several convicted of pedophiles, and mostly at Disney and Nickelodeon, by the way, who specialize in children's programming and have even rehired pedophiles after they served light sentences for raping child actors. Those are just the facts. Did you know that more slaves today in the world than at the height of the transatlantic slave trade? There are more slaves today in the world than at the height of the transatlantic slave trade. Child sex trafficking, ladies and gentlemen, is a $34 billion a year business and is growing tenfold globally. The child slavery system is a $10 billion a year industry in the US alone. It is big money. This is a global issue in every corner of the world. The US is the largest consumer of child sexual slavery and porn. What does that tell you? Yes, it's prevalent in Hollywood, government, high net worth individuals. Think of the scene from Pulp Fiction in the basement with the gimp. When you walk down the street every other block, that's going on all over the United States with children. When you think about what's going on in that house, every other block, all over society. It's the fastest growing criminal network in the world. Yet when a movie delivers such a simple and powerful message, you would think the left and the right would agree on this. Rolling Stone, Washington Post, all corporate media is vilifying this movie. It's disgusting. The left is trying to destroy this movie. This is a wholesome movie that is based on true events. Okay? No image of sexual images of children were being molested were shown in the movie. They did show children being kidnapped, which happens every day. The movie shows that there is a vast child molesting network around the world, ladies and gentlemen. 100% true. And by the way, once again, the U.S. is the largest consumers of child sex slavery. We got the demand. We produce the demand. The left does not want to confront this issue. It's disgusting. They are saying it is pushing a conspiracy theory. What? This story is based on facts. So let me get this straight. No child sex trafficking is happening in the United States. The sexualization of children leads to sexual slavery of children. 85,000 children didn't go missing at our southern border. They are showing a side of our society that half the country does not want you to see exist, ladies and gentlemen. It has been known for decades that governments have systematically abused children, beginning in the 60s. The German government began placing thousands of foster children into, homes of single pedophiles. Look at the history of this. It's mind-boggling, and can you continue doing it until the 1990s. Thousands of Catholic priests have been accused of raping children, and no justice has come out of it. Jeffrey Epstein, good old Jeffrey Epstein's probably sitting on an island somewhere, was targeting individuals and recording them raping children as a form of blackmail. So the powerful, entities could control them. Epstein has disappeared. And so has his little black book with all those wonderful names in it. Many have claimed that Hugh Hefner was doing the same thing for the CIA that Epstein was doing for the CIA in 1976. Hefner's Playboy Mansion, I've been there a few times, published erotic nude pictures of 10-year-old girls, and nobody seemed to care. Roman Polanski sodomized a young girl, but who cares? It's just normal behavior. The effects on these children, ladies and gentlemen, this is what's so terrible, can often be fatal. Whether it's from a blunt trauma or suicide, those who survive most often struggle with it for their entire life. Their soul is ripped from them forever. Child abuse has been used as a form of trauma-based mind control because it often forces the child to disassociate, which has been known to create multiple personalities. If you look at MK Ultra, whistleblower Kathy O'Brien came from a family of multi-generation child abuse that sold her to the U.S. government. That program did exist through the CIA. Our entire system is profiting from child slavery. About $10 billion a year in the U.S. alone. I can't emphasize that enough, and it's growing. It's fastest growing, more than drug trade. And our entire government seems to be involved in trying to hide it. Congress has paid millions of our taxpayer dollars to cover up their sex abuse crimes. They have a special fund. Thousands of children are being trafficked across our southern border right now. And now it's become trendy to castrate children and turn them into so-called transgender. I'm all for whatever you want to be. But does a 5-year-old or 8-year-old know what they're doing at that age? No. And if we, the people, don't do something about this, then the blossoming surveillance state will have a solution. Don't be surprised if our children are soon monitored 24/7 under the guise of keeping them safe because we have failed to do so as parents. While we cannot expect to rid the earth of all evil, something obviously needs to be done. If you don't agree with this movie, you're a monster, in my opinion. I don't get it. Why are the craziest ideas right now becoming mainstream? If you want to have sex with a 5-year-old, 8-year-old girl, you want to rape a 5-year-old, 8-year-old, 12-year-old girl, you want to play with a 12-year-old girl's mind, you want to sacrifice a child, you should just kill yourself. But you probably won't have the courage to do that. And by the grace of God, if you get arrested, life in prison or lethal injection is not good enough. If it was my way, you'd be tortured for 30 days before you die. It is the worst crime you can commit. Nothing even comes close. That should be a universal truth. Everyone should agree on it. Taking a child's soul at 8, 10 years old, they'll never be the same if they survive whatever you do to them. It's disgusting. And we have people in our country trying to cover this up. When Tim did this 10 plus years, documentation of saving children all over the world. And he talked about a girl that was trafficked over the southern border to New York and was raped over a 5-year period 20,000 times. He testified to Congress. Lindsey Graham was up there when he testified. And we have the left and publications saying, oh, this is fake. This doesn't exist. Don't look that way. Don't look that way. This is not what my channel's about. But I saw this movie. And it left a huge impression on me. And this is terrible. And our children are our future. And what is going on in this country right now is disgusting. And you came after the kids and you woke a lot of people up. It's disgusting. And I'm going to get involved. And if the people that are against this don't get you, God's going to get you.